Part 140. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1394. Within the planet, countless eyes are watching the war between the two stellar-level combat teams. Countless electronic eyes, or divine mysteries, are spying on everything here. Originally, in the eyes of a group of strong men, 11 versus 30, this was just a joke. As for the 11 powerful men, they are naturally the people on Jia Yan's side. All the information shows that among all these creatures, except for a strong man like Jia Yan, the combat power value displayed is unfathomable. The other 10 powerful people, whether they are the 6-star level giants of the universe or the 4 female gods who have taken refuge in Jia Yan, their strength is only ordinary star-level combat power. Even the 4 female gods, because they are female, their combat power is weaker than that of ordinary gods. And with such a team, any one of the 30 or so people can fight against any enemy with comparable strength except Jia Yan. In everyone's opinion, this is a matter of seeking death. But under such circumstances, no one dared to underestimate this battle, and no one really regarded Jia Yan's front army as the weak. Because, in this team, there is Jia Yan. That's right, just having this unfathomable being who has completely wiped out powerful god teams several times is already the biggest variable. Boom boom boom. The stellar combat power of the two major teams existed and they were approaching at high speed. The size of each creature on both sides, except for a few unique ones, reached about 1 kilometer. Such a group of creatures, just by flying and blowing gusts of wind, could make the armies of both sides escape hundreds of kilometers. Feeling unsteady on their feet, and all of them fled quickly with their demeanor changing wildly. "Laurency, you traitor, I will kill you today." "That's right, earthly smiling god. I used to dislike you. You always harassed me. Can you harass a goddess? Tianyu Lang, we fought without a winner before, but now we are going to end it all. Humph, Bai Do Shen, come if you dare, but you can't do it alone. Call 2 more friends to come. Wujuangxing level powerhouse, you actually took refuge in Jia Yan. It turns out that you are also afraid of death. Come on, I'll let you see whether I'm afraid of death or not." Both sides saw their opponents almost instantly. At this moment, one by one with stellar combat power, they all aimed at their targets and collided with each other. However, since the opponent's number is more than 3 times greater than that of this side, in many cases, 3 or 4 gods are eyeing a strong man from Jia Yan's side. But even if they were locked by the energy of 3 or 4 gods at the same time, the strong men on Jia Yan's side did not waver one by one. Instead, they struck away fiercely with solemn expressions. "Jia Yan, your opponents are the 4 of us." Here, Jia Yan Fei was at the front of the entire team, and what he faced were the 4 powerful men. 2 of these 4 powerful men are the dragon living god and the other 2 original leaders of the Darega god line. Their god line was originally one of the most powerful god lines on the entire divine star, but now people more than half of Ding Zhizhou's gods were killed by Jia Yan Fang's attack. For them, they almost hated Jia Yan to the extreme. So they naturally picked Jia Yan as their opponent first. The other 2 powerful men were visitors from the 2 major reinforcement teams whose strength felt even more terrifying than them. At this time, these 2 visitors did not look down upon Jia Yan, the powerful man who came. Even at this moment, they felt that the huge mosquito rushing towards them actually brought great excitement to them both. Pressure. Sure enough, he is not an ordinary strong person, this feeling of strength. The 2 star-level warriors were indeed much more terrifying than the 2 original leaders of the Dogula god system. But at this moment, after personally feeling the strength of Jia Yan who was rushing in front of a group of star-level warriors, they all become solemn. You must know that strong people can generally feel a little bit of each other's strength, unless the gap is so big that they cannot be sensed at all, or the other party deliberately hides their own strength completely. Now, Jia Yan is hiding his strength slightly, because he doesn't want to scare a group of creatures from fighting them. Don't be afraid. If the four strongest of us fight him alone, no matter how powerful he is, he can't exceed the elementary level of strength, right? As long as it is in the elementary level of strength, it is impossible for us, the four great gods, to be unable to defeat him. A super strong person said extremely calmly. That's right, even if his strength exceeds our imagination, how can we, the four great beings, not even be able to hold him back? As long as it takes a while, the surrounding battles will end, and other gods will participate in the siege. His Jia Yan, no matter how strong you are, you still have to hate this. Another stellar superpower also calmed down. While the two were talking, the four great gods finally met Jia Yan face to face. Jia Yan, please give me your life. The two original leaders of the Dora ancient god line were angry at Jia Yan for fragmenting their god line. At this moment, they suddenly mobilized their full strength and struck at Jia Yan. They are worthy of being the strongest in the divine system, and the strength they use is completely beyond the capabilities of the ordinary gods beside them who also have the same explosive strength. There is a huge gap between star levels, and even between the same level. Jia Yan looked at the leaders of the two major gods and felt a little clear in his heart. As the leader of a god, his strength reaching such a level was not beyond his expectation. Then let's see how strong those two major supports are. Jia Yan lightly flung out his two long legs, blocking the attacks from the two gods with his front legs. It seemed like it was effortless at all. But the surrounding world, at this moment, completely lost its original color due to the collision of the three powerful men. Boom! In the sky and the earth, the wind and clouds suddenly changed, and rolling thunder appeared from the sky. Lightning suddenly appeared due to the collision of the three and hit the ground. At this moment, the surrounding star-level experts and god-level experts all had their demeanor changed drastically and were pushed sideways by the shock wave. This is the strength of the primary superpower. Not far away, Luo Longxi looked frightened. She was about to fight with the god who hated her, but after being blown away, the two were separated by a long distance. It's scary. Those two leaders are worthy of being the two most powerful people in a major divine system, but with such strength, compared to Jia Yan. Not enough. The two superpowers who rushed to the rear understood in an instant. Just seeing how Jia Yan easily blocked the attacks of the two leaders and gods, they knew that his strength far exceeded the two leaders. Let's go together, let's see what Jia Yan is capable of. The two gods smiled slightly, turned around and charged forward. At this moment, the four great gods actually surrounded Jia Yan at the first moment of the war. On the battlefield on one side, a member of Jia Yan's star-level powerhouse had to face two, or even three or four divine creatures. In an instant, the truth that they were not very powerful was exposed. Undoubtedly. Puff. Haha, I heard that Mr. Tianyi Alang is the strongest being under Jia Yan, but it turns out he is nothing more than that. The divine creature that injured the cowherd was able to prop up its own divine kingdom and laugh happily. Despicable, you don't want 5 people to besiege me if you have the ability. Tianyi Alang did not expect that he and Jia Yan fought together several times, and he was actually passed down and became the strongest in Jia Yan's team. Now there are 5 the gods came to besiege him. Tianyi Alang's original strength is probably that of a random god of the opponent. He may be strong, but his strength is limited. Now there are actually 5 beings as strong as him coming to attack him. He was not killed immediately. It's because he recently received guidance from Jia Yan and his strength has greatly improved. The same was true for Luo Longxi on the other side. He was originally fighting a god from the Dora ancient god system, but just after the fight, 2 gods rushed towards her and instantly hit the green grass blades beside her. A large piece fell. Luo Longxi, when you betrayed us, did you ask Shi Yuan for help? Did you ever think that such a day would come? Now even if you beg us, it's useless. Haha, that's right. When we pursued you, you were obedient and let us succeed, but now you have been reduced to taking refuge in the strong men of the stars. You are just asking for death. Haha, are you allowed to succeed? Absolutely impossible. I would rather die than let you succeed. Do you know that the biggest reason why I betrayed the divine system is because of your entanglement? Luo Longxi seemed to have some trouble with this group of gods from the Dora ancient pantheon, and she looked extremely crazy at this time. Humph, for what it's worth, females should be enjoyed by us males. Do you think you can violate that principle when you go outside the realm of the gods? Don't even think about it. Forget it, since she doesn't know what is good or bad, now she can either kill her or capture her and enjoy it slowly. The words spoken by the three great gods to Luo Longxi almost made Luo Longxi so angry that she burst into rage. Their battle started again, but as a god whose strength had just been restored, Rolancy couldn't even compare to an ordinary god, let alone deal with three people. If she hadn't managed to hold on and believed in some miracle, they might all be dead now. The same is true for the three female divine creatures on the other side. They are besieged by 2 or 3 gods respectively and are in danger. Not to mention them, several other star-level powerhouses are also extremely dangerous under the siege of so many gods. Perhaps the only difference is that in this war, there is only one existence that no one knows how terrifying its strength is. Jia Yan. Well, my team members are still not strong enough. Oh, do they all have to rely on me? If that doesn't work, let them have a taste of danger first. Please remember the first domain name of this book. VIP Chinese. Mobile version reading website. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin Yu. Chapter 1395. Jia Yan stood proudly on the spot while calmly responding to the attacks of the 4 superpowers. Boom. The 2 later super gods and powerful men launched a bombardment in an instant, with a shocking loud noise. However, this joint attack was unable to even force Jia Yan back a step. Haha, these 2 knockdowns are pretty good, very powerful. Because of this blow, the world was turned upside down. Jia Yan still stood calmly in the sky, not being affected at all. This. The 4 great gods, at this moment, looked confused and stopped in the sky, looking at Jia Yan, who had been attacked by all 4 of them once, but did not feel any shake. They were shocked and had no idea what kind of strength Jia Yan had and what method he used to completely resist their strength. Asshole, why is his strength so? No, his strength is definitely something we can't break. It must be because of some special method he used. The 4 great gods all became concentrated. Because they would never believe that a being who was also a primary level star. Their 4 great gods were still considered powerful among the primary level powers and could not even break through Jia Yan's defense. Haha, it seems that these 4 guys have thought of something? But it doesn't matter. With my strength, ordinary star level and god level experts cannot crack it. Jia Yan looked at the 4 gods besieging him, then turned to look at the battlefield aside. Each of his 10 subordinates were physically injured at this moment. Although with his help or lessons, the top 10 star-level combat powers have improved to a certain extent during this period, they are not the heaven-defying evolutionary beasts like Jia Yan. Even if their strength improves, they will not, maybe it's rising too fast. So now in a 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 or even 1-on-5 situation, they will soon be in danger. The most dangerous beetle monster, even one of its horns was broken due to its confrontation with the 5 major divine creatures. Seeing the next blow, the longhorn monster will fall into the place of death. At this moment, the long-horned monster turned back in despair and looked in the direction of Jia Yan. As a subordinate who believed in Jia Yan very much, he had always believed that Jia Yan would reveal his trump card in this Jedi battle between stellar powerhouses. This trump card might be some unique weapon, and or some kind of unique strength, even he was delusional, whether Master Jia Yan would burst out the terrifying power of the mid-level star in this battle. After all, mid-level stars, regardless of whether they are the original mid-level stars or not, in this situation, it is possible to reverse the situation and even dominate the entire planet in the future battlefield. But he was disappointed that Jia Yan didn't use such terrifying power, and even when he was about to die, he didn't show any trump card yet. Did I go with the wrong person? At this moment, he had a faint feeling of regret for trusting Jia Yan's actions without reservation. From a distance, Jia Yan seemed to be able to understand his thoughts through his gaze. Haha, it seems that you don't trust me. At this moment, the longhorn monster felt that the time in the entire world suddenly slowed down. Jia Yan's indifferent voice reached his ears. This voice was still confident and indifferent, a kind of confidence that everything was still under his control. Lord. At this moment, the longhorn monster felt that the speed of the group of powerful gods attacking in front of him suddenly slowed down, and everything around it seemed to be frozen. And at the moment when he was talking to Jia Yan, at the center of the battlefield, where Jia Yan was fighting the four powerful super gods, finally, countless eyes of everyone were focused on him. On the ground, a shadow gradually burst out with the strength that should have belonged to him. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Vibrations that were like ripples spread out from Jia Yan's body. Under this wave, all the creatures in the place where the ripples were scattered, whether they were his subordinates or the powerful gods, suddenly slowed down. Even the four super powerful gods standing in front of him changed their demeanor at this moment and completely slowed down. Beetle monster, I'm sorry, I'm going to show you my true strength now. Jia Yan said lightly, and the waves of ripples on his body were like sound waves, and like distortions of space. It seemed that it did not belong to Jia Yan's own power, but also seemed to come from his own body, which was very noticeable. I am extremely confused and cannot figure out what this power is. This power has actually transcended the category of stellar powerhouses or divine powerhouses. You gods, you think my strength is really that good, so you're going to get rid of me. He. In the entire battlefield, the only person who can move normally within the ripples is Jia Yan himself. He smiled lightly and shook the giant mosquito's head. Taking a step forward, he came to a powerful god who rushed to the aid of the ancient Dora gods. You. The extremely powerful god saw Jia Yan coming to his side without suppressing his strength at this time, and immediately felt that in Jia Yan, there was something like a stellar powerhouse, and again unlike the star-level powerhouses, they even have a similar wave power to their divine powerhouses. Needless to say, since you have taken action against me, then just die. Jia Yan lightly stabbed with his front foot. The terrifying god was unable to even dodge. Just like this, a huge blood hole was directly stabbed out by Jia Yan's stab. I don't want. This powerful spiritual man was actually unable to speak his last words before his death. Jia Yan exploded the power of brain waves in his body, protecting his divine crystal from self-destruction. He just lost all his thoughts. Master, Jia Yan, I surrender, I surrender. Finally, the remaining god on one side begged for mercy due to the huge gap in strength, and even said the word surrender. Oh, do you want to surrender? Haha. Jia Yan came to the side of the powerful super god who rushed to the rescue and looked at him with shining eyes. Yes, my lord, I surrender. I surrender wholeheartedly. What a pity, your eyes are saying that you still want revenge. Puff. Jia Yan's front foot pierced his body. This super powerful god actually struck another blow, and died immediately without even a trace of resistance under Jia Yan's feint attack. Seeing this scene, all the creatures in the entire battlefield were shocked. Whether it was the enemy's gods or the stellar powerhouses who belonged to Jia Yan's subordinates, they all felt chills in their hearts. This strength is no longer something that a simple star-level powerhouse can explain, right? Even the newly promoted mid-level stars may not have the strength of Jia Yan. In other words, even with Jia Yan's current strength, one person can suppress the entire divine star? Then why do you need help from others, and why don't you explode your strength early and completely clean the battlefield? What a group of stellar combat power beings didn't know was that at this moment, all detection tools inside and outside the battlefield, and even other living creatures, were completely destroyed under the ripples. The detector is destroyed and the living things die. In other words, the outside world is observing the strong men in this area. At this moment, except for being able to vaguely detect some fluctuations, no one knows what is happening in this battlefield. They couldn't even detect Jia Yan's fluctuations, because they were something outside the system. Sir, I sincerely rely on you. Master Jia Yan, me too. Master Jia Yan, we three brothers also sincerely seek refuge with you. After all, who is a strong man like you who wouldn't want to seek refuge with you? Jia Yan easily killed several super powerful gods. Even the living dragon god who wanted to say something was killed by Jia Yan after one blow. The gods who were still unable to move on one side started to move one by one. Spoke. They had to speak. Otherwise, death. Oh. Do you want to surrender? Haha, okay, my comrades, you can move now. Now help me ask if they are willing to surrender and ask Shiyuan if it is true. Jia Yan let go of the restraints of a group of subordinates. But at this moment, Jia Yan's secret brainwave power sound came from the ears of the 10 subordinates. They were all startled, but since they were all powerful beings with stellar combat power, there was nothing too unusual about them immediately. The beetle monster came to a powerful spiritual man and laughed strangely. Isn't it great that you besieged me just now? Did you ever think that this moment would happen? No, I have to kill someone first to relieve my hatred. Puff. After an attack, a god who was about to beg for mercy was suddenly attacked by the beetle monster and died immediately. At the moment of attacking it, the longhorn monster had already used its brainwave power to instantly wrap the divine crystal in its body, preventing it from self-destructing. Master Tian Nialang, now you have killed one of our people, please be happy, we are willing to. A god who was attacking the cowherd changed his expression at this moment, and he quickly spoke begging for mercy. But before he could finish his words, the cowherd struck out again, killing him in shock. And he was also too late to explode the divine crystal. In fact, the reactions of these gods were originally very fast, but Tiani Alang had already used words to trick them. In addition, under the power of Jia Yan's strange ripples, their reaction speed and even their brain thinking were instantly slowed down. After a little while, the beetle monster succeeded several times. Okay, there are 3 of you left. Look into my eyes now. If I see that you are sincerely surrendering, I won't kill you. The cowherd came to a god with a strange smile and asked, are you sincerely surrendering? The energy is completely relaxed, otherwise I will kill you. Please remember the first domain name of this book. VIP Chinese. Mobile version reading website. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Buletin Yu. Chapter 1396. Yes, Lord Tiani Alang, I sincerely surrender. Puff. When the god released his energy and did not dare to resist at all, the cowherd repeated his mistake again and killed him instantly. You. Didn't he say surrender? After Tian Nialang used the power of brain waves to control the god's divine crystal from exploding, the powerful god on the other side almost burst out of flames from his eyes, unable to believe what Tian Nialang had done. For the strong gods, if the other party surrenders, they should be like gentlemen, accepting the surrender of others, and then use the terms of war to release the other party, or wait until the other party cannot pay compensation before killing them. Who would have expected that this star-level creature would be completely unreasonable and would just kill it if asked? Haha, I can see there is hostility in his eyes. Do you want him to sneak attack me when I turn around? Well, now that you have spoken, it is your turn to look into my eyes. The heavenly cowherd flew towards the roaring god calmly. The growler hesitated for a while, but his desire to survive still exceeded his desire to resist desperately. For the divine creatures, there was nothing they wanted to accomplish more than surviving. Tien Nialang was very satisfied with the creature's actions and said calmly, "Very good, as long as you keep this expression, I will believe that you sincerely surrender." Puff. Another move ferociously killed this relaxed divine creature. Humph, I already said something rude just now. How can I still believe you? My death will be in vain now. Next one. He deliberately used excuses to kill 3 powerful gods, but left the remaining ones with some hope. Finally, another god was killed, and when the last one was left, that god finally responded back to his senses. "Cowherd of heaven, I hummed your mother, it turns out you did it on purpose, just to dream about the divine crystals in our bodies." After the god knew what Tianyi Alang and Jia Yan really wanted, he no longer hesitated at all and instantly detonated his own divine crystal. With a loud bang, a terrifying explosion resounded throughout the world. But this kind of powerful god who was supposed to blow up the cowherd and even kill him self-destruct, but when Jia Yan felt something strange happening here, he glanced at it. A huge space crack appeared at the place where the strong man self-destruct, sucking his entire self-destruct body, including the remains of the gods around him, into the subspace. Then, only part of this astonishing self-explosion energy that destroyed the world could appear in the normal space, and was instantly annihilated by Jia Yan's ripple-like power. Well, thank you for your intervention, otherwise I would have been in extreme danger. Tianyi Alang witnessed such a terrible explosion happening in front of his own eyes. He was so frightened that he almost lost his mind and quickly thanked Jia Yan for taking action. "Well, you did a good job. You actually got 4 divine crystals from the 5 great gods. The first achievement today should be yours. Of course, others also did a good job." When Jia Yan's voice sounded, Tianyi Alang looked back in shock, only to see a group of star-level experts and god-level experts from Jia Yan's team, all of whom were injured and ended the battle faster than him. That's right, he faced as many as 5 gods, so it was normal for him to end the battle slowly. Kill them all. Even after learning about Master Jia Yan's strength, he vaguely guessed the outcome of today's battle, but he actually saw the corpses of gods lying on the ground, as well as those who also wanted to self-destruct but were stopped, resulting in a huge after the ground was destroyed. He was still a little dizzy. You must know that these are 30 great gods. There are only less than 200 gods on this planet, and they were killed by their mere 11 Jia Yan team in an instant. And it was caused when they had not reduced their numbers. Even if Lord Jia Yan had released his strange battle ripples earlier, maybe even the wounded would not have appeared. This, Lord Jia Yan is so powerful. Faced with such an existence that almost turned the entire battlefield around with one person's power, he even doubted that even if Jia Yan faced such an opponent, he could easily crush it. Apart from shouting mighty, he felt that he had no power. There are other words I can say. If he knew the internet slang of Earth, he would probably shout 666. Of course, these mighty words now greatly revealed his inner emotions. The surrounding subordinates were also stunned by such a scene. Huh? Have all the communication devices been destroyed? Suddenly, a star-level creature who was about to show off suddenly discovered that the densely packed detectors around them, and each of the spies, were silent. As if the traces had completely disappeared. That's right, these things are an eyesore, so I made them disappear. By the way, don't tell anyone about my explosive strength this time. Just keep it a secret. Jia Yan responded lightly. This sentence instantly made a group of subordinates understand. It turned out that Jia Yan wanted to hide his strength. Your Excellency has reached this level of strength and is still so cautious. You are truly worthy of being a strong man who has reached this level. His behavior is different from ours. Thinking that they and others wanted to show off to their allies and enemies at this moment, a group of subordinates all felt that they were not worthy of stellar combat power, and looked extremely embarrassed. But how could they know that if Jia Yanruo were just the opponents in front of him, a group of gods and hidden star-level opponents, he would have nothing to fear. He hid his strength mainly to deal with the powerful men from the stellar field who might come. In fact, Jia Yan has already understood that the strong men in the stellar academic field, let alone the middle-level stellar ones, even ordinary pursuers are one level stronger than the strong men on this planet. Jia Yan also figured out the reason. It was because they were genius stellar experts who came from the stellar academic field. Just ask how many academies exist below the star level, and their strength exceeds those of the same level in the outside world. After reaching the star level, even if their strength is narrowed, it is absolutely impossible to truly fall to the same level as the ordinary star level. There's not much difference in combat power, right? So after Jia Yan understood the rough combat power of the strong people on this planet, he decided that even if many strong people knew that he was powerful, he still had to save his combat power data, otherwise he would be killed by those who came from the stellar academic field. Star powerhouses might come up with some solutions after learning about his current strength. It's a pity that they can't know how terrible the Lord is. But whatever, let them guess. This battle was not just as simple as defeating the 30 great gods. A group of Jia Yan's subordinates also suddenly had great trust in Jia Yan's strength. After all, such a person who could solve the entire battlefield with one person's power, they had never heard of it, and they were even vaguely thinking in their hearts, could another stellar mid-level person here do the same thing? It's probably unlikely. Sir, this is the divine crystal I confiscated. None of the major gods I am responsible for has escaped. Sir, this is my fault. I accidentally let a god self-destruct the divine crystal. Please punish me. A group of star-level creatures came forward to hand over the divine crystals. They had no use for the divine crystals. Although they didn't know why Jia Yan seemed to need the divine crystals so much, they still obeyed without asking any more questions. Hand over the obtained divine crystal. It's very good. Although one or two people made mistakes, overall we actually got 25 divine crystals. Very good. You guys satisfy me very much. Jia Yan's eyes almost burst into laughter. You must know that in this battle, what he was most afraid of was that the enemy's self-destruction of the divine crystals was good. Fortunately, in the last scene, every subordinate used his own wisdom, either relying on deception or using a unique illusion-like method, made it possible for 25 divine crystals among the more than 30 enemy gods to remain without self-destruction. You must know that Jia Yan has not received more than 5 divine crystals so far, but now he suddenly has 25 more. For him, this is not only a great fortune and a great opportunity. Very good, you are all injured. And retreat. Let the army accept the territory of these gods. Presumably the surrounding gods will not dare to act rashly. Of course, if they dare to move, then the next target of our Jia Yan team will be them. I don't care about the supplies that we captured. You can take them back. Jia Yan gave an order, and then he happily took a lot of divine crystals and retreated into the subspace. Of course, a group of subordinates were equally happy. Although Jia Yan took away the divine crystal, it had no effect on them. What they wanted was the crystal of faith, and now Jia Yan actually said that he would let them clean up a group of divine crystals. The territory below represents a group of them, and they can actually share those benefits. This was an astonishing benefit. Although they really got something extraordinary, they would definitely ask Jia Yan if he wanted it, but the total sum of the other things was almost astronomical. Of course, they were extremely happy. Jia Yan is also happy. This is 25 divine crystals. It's a huge profit. On this planet, even if it's no longer harvested, it's still worth the price of admission. After all, the 5 divine crystals haven't been used up. I'm so strong. It's reached this point. If I use these 25 yuan again, I don't even know how far I can go. Jia Yan was so happy that he almost squinted his mosquito eyes with 25 divine crystals. No one knows that my current strength, the ripples that control others, and everything are actually because of these 5 half-digested divine crystals. Haha, but even if they know, there is no way to counter my move, right? After all, who else is like me, who can be a star-level creature and absorb the divine crystal of the gods at the same time? Please remember the first domain name of this book. VIP Chinese. Mobile version reading website. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1397. That's right, Jia Yan was able to show great power before, entirely because of the new fighting method he has developed now. Haha, I originally thought that my strength was somewhat compatible with the spiritual cultivation method, but I didn't expect that my strength would improve to such an extent in just a short period of time. Jia Yan smiled slightly and carefully placed a bunch of divine crystals on the Edisha. Master, you are so powerful. I have seen your battles. You are so powerful. Killing gods is like killing pigs. The little light and shadow mosquitoes flew out of the depths of the Aditha, flying around with great admiration for Jia Yan. Haha, it's just that they don't know how to crack it. If someone finds the right cracking solution for this trick, the effect will probably be much worse. Jia Yan smiled, but there was a hint of disbelief in what he said, because he didn't believe it, except for the well-informed creatures, the star-level powerhouses and the godly powerhouses on this little god star. You can see the flaws in his move. Of course, in order to prevent that kind of scene from happening, Jia Yan also kept all his fighting scenes secret. Even if he couldn't keep it secret for too long, it was not a secret that could be solved in a short while. When it comes time for them to understand the principles of their own fighting, he will have already left this divine planet. This battle between Jia Yan's team, just as Jia Yan expected, caused an uproar on the god star. No one knew how Jia Yan's team of only 11 people could face more than 30 powerful gods. They didn't even know that while they were observing, all the 10-star level and divine subordinates except Jia Yan were seriously injured and almost dying. However, after an unknown force interrupted all their detection methods, not only did this extremely injured being not die, but he even killed the 30 powerful gods to the point where no one was left alive, and not a single one of them escaped from the battlefield. This is so shocking. Because no one thought that the outcome of this war would be like this. Although there is a certain gap in strength between the gods and the star-level powerhouses, the gap is not too big. Even if the strength of the two sides is much different, everyone is speculating that this time, the gods will have to pay 1 or 2 big at most. The strong man destroyed 5 or 6 gods on Jia Yan's side, and then Jia Yanfang ran away with his head in his arms. He could still escape if he wanted to. But when the real results came out, the jaws of the gods and stellar powerhouses dropped in shock. As a result of this war, not only did Jia Yan suffer a complete defeat, but the gods, whom they thought would definitely win, lost. You know, there are a total of 30 gods, and even among the 4 primary gods, they can be regarded as great beings who are super powerful. And these 4 major existences are actually still dead. Impossible. What method did Jia Yan use? His subordinates were about to die, but he actually exploded and killed all 30 gods in an instant. It's definitely not as simple as strength. Yes, he definitely used some unique method, but he didn't dare to show it to us. It's definitely because this method cannot be used multiple times. Maybe he won't have this method next time. If you say there isn't, why don't you use your divine power to test it? This Jia Yan's strength is too incredible, and he has such inexplicable abilities. How should he face it now? You must know that 30 people die at one time, which is more than 1.5% of the gods of our entire divine star. There is no way. His strength is so incredible and he has such mysterious fighting methods. What can we do? The big bosses of the gods and stars gathered in a huge palace, but even though the surrounding environment was good, they still sighed and no one was in a good mood. After all, if other gods were defeated in 1 or 2 games, and 1 or 2 gods died, they would secretly laugh, but they could be killed by a strong man from the universe, more than 30 of them in one go, and they didn't even know that this strong man used how to kill their gods. It's weird to laugh at them. There was a moment of silence, and no one could come up with a plan. Jia Yan's strength is weird. If he wants to defeat him, he must first fight with his life and test his limits before making a response plan. But the problem is that no one in the pantheon is willing to die first. Huh? I have a rather interesting communication here. It is a fixed point inquiry from outside the universe. It talks about a fugitive named Jia Yan. If you know anything about it, please reply, and the image of Jia Yan depicted above is actually exactly the same as the Jia Yan we know. When a spiritual leader raised the divine communicator in his hand and said this to all the spiritual leaders, the eyes of each spiritual leader suddenly lit up. Is it the Jia Yan mentioned above? A fugitive, haha, this is great. This Jia Yan is actually an interstellar fugitive. Hurry, tell the other end, we have a man named Jia Yan here, and his image is also send it over, and if it's the person they're looking for, they will definitely come to our aid. Yes, since these arresters dare to arrest Jia Yan, they must be sure of his strength. Even if they are powerful men in the universe, they will probably just catch them and leave. Let's stop hanging around in front of them. That's fine, maybe people still look down on our planet. One by one, the spiritual bosses stared at the contact message, as if they had found some life-saving straw, and were extremely excited. Quickly, reply. Jia Yan is on our side. The gods can receive that communication, and similar communications can also be received in this alliance place of stellar powerhouses. Huh? That Jia Yan is actually a fugitive. It turns out that he is a fugitive. No wonder I have always felt that he just wanted to make a quick buck on our planet and leave. What should we do now? His strength is pretty good. It is estimated that the existence that came to capture him must be extremely powerful, and it can be seen that the captor is also from our universe's strong system. Haha, let's not worry about it. No matter whether they can capture Jia by then, Yan, we can ask them to help us and try to help us eliminate the gods of this god star. The Stellar Alliance is not a fool. Everyone knows that if Jia Yan is a fugitive, then the pursuer must also be an extremely terrifying strong man. So they decided to keep a certain distance from Jia Yan's team. Everyone can receive this news, and Jia Yan is no exception. After all, the strong men in the stellar field communicate with the surrounding stellar masters through public broadcasts. Sir, is this news true, are you really? On this day, the 10 powerful men who finally couldn't bear it came to Jia Yan's palace and asked Jia Yan about the content of the communication. You must know that this is a big deal for them, because if Jia Yan is a fugitive, he will definitely escape soon or be captured, and he may even implicate them. After all, those who can come to capture Jia Yan will definitely not be weak. They are unable to fight against Jia Yan's subordinates, and they may even be affected and die in the battle. Jia Yan was practicing lightly and heard a group of subordinates waiting for his answer. He lazily looked up and carefully discerned the contents of the communicator. He couldn't help but sneered. Are you describing me as a fugitive? Those people from the Hung Seeing Academy are really capable of treating deer as a horse. Jia Yan looked at a group of subordinates who looked uncomfortable, and asked calmly, "What's wrong? Are you afraid just because of this communication?" "Humph, if there is anyone who doesn't want to stay here, I will mind if he leaves." Jia Yan's words did not say what kind of leaving meant leaving, or letting people go, or sending people away from this world. So when he said this, the faces of the subordinates changed slightly. They also understood that even if the content in the communication was true, what choice did they have? Isn't it possible to escape? Jia Yan's weird subspace talent, coupled with his unknown form of terrifying ripple power, there was no way they could resist. "Okay, I'm not afraid to tell you that I do have some issues with the forces that are chasing me. But I am not a wanted criminal, but a member of a force that is comparable in strength to them. Of course, I am fighting alone now." Jia Yan explained lightly, thought about it, and decided to reassure people, "Don't be afraid, I have already fought with these guys once, and last time, my strength was not as powerful as it is now. If you dare to come this time, I will make them look good." "I see. I knew that when you came to our planet, you were improving your strength. It will definitely not be your original strength. My lord has already fought with them once, and your strength has improved this time, so we can rest assured." "That's right, if these guys dare to come, it's not impossible for us to attack them together and kill them." When a constant breath level person said this, several powerful creatures around him turned their heads and looked at him as if he were an idiot. The star level creature suddenly responded. He shouldn't have said this, because when the pursuers came, they could completely stay away. "Huh? With your help, kill them? This is a good choice." After Jia Yan's surprised voice sounded, the eyes of everyone looking at the stellar creature became even more unkind. "They don't want to get into this trouble. You have to know that it is an existence that can hunt down Jia Yan. With their strength, they might die in the slightest chance. Well, there's no rush now. When those bastards come over, maybe the war here will be over. Let's clear the gods of this god star first. Then, even if we really can't defeat them, we won't have any regrets if we want to run away." Please remember the first domain name of this book. VIP Chinese. Mobile version reading website. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1398. Jia Yan's seemingly muttered words made the faces of a group of subordinates turn darker. It turns out that Master Jia Yan has said so much, but even with his current strength, he dare not face those pursuers. Therefore, it is definitely extremely dangerous for them to join in the fun. Of course, the current Jia Yan would not say such words to them directly. In short, he was also looking forward to it. By the time the group of strong men from the stellar field came over, he had already taken care of the matter of the divine star and he piled up the divine crystals and fled. After a group of subordinates retreated, Jia Yan was helpless when he saw that their expressions not only did not soften, but even became more solemn. After all, it was impossible for him to lie to them and say that he was not worried about the pursuer at all. This would be a bit deceptive. This group of subordinates Jia Yan is very easy to use. They are also loyal and Jia Yan does not want to cheat them. Are those guys actually coming? Jia Yan crept down quietly. Although on the surface, it seemed that Jia Yan was chasing the group of strong men from the stellar field without any indication, that was not what he was thinking. That mid-level stellar being is too powerful. Even if I reach this level, I still have no chance of defeating him. What's more, he has so many supporting experts around him. After Jia Yan thought for a moment, he let out a long sigh. The only thing I hope now is that they can come slower and collect more divine crystals. Anyway, I have subspace talent. Even if they are prepared, they will definitely not be able to capture my new strength. If I wait until they come and run away, they won't be able to catch me. There was a strong chasing team behind him. This situation made Jia Yan feel angry. After all, he was a terrifying strong man who could easily suppress one star. It was not pleasant for him to have to go through such a thing. But the strong man in the stellar field is at least one of the most powerful star fields in the nearby star field. It is not too embarrassing to escape from their pursuit. Jia Yan is relieved when he thinks about it. But in the field of stellar science, you guys just wait for me. When I reach the mid-level of stellar, or even the lower-level stars, when I have a certain degree of resistance, I will definitely knock on your door and let you see what it is like to offend an evolved beast. What a terrible thing. There was a sparkle in Jia Yanfu's eyes. You must know that he has long been unhappy with the stellar academic field. He used to go to the genius battlefield to challenge him, and now he is dealing with him like this. It is unacceptable to him. Anyway, evolved beast, in this universe, is synonymous with making trouble. When the time comes, he will go over to cause trouble and see if those guys dare to provoke evolved beast again. Time passes slowly. Once again forming an alliance with a star-level powerhouse, the army of gods was obviously even more fearful. They kept retreating, and even retreated from another god's land in just 1 month. Especially when facing the enemies of Jia Yan's squad, when the ordinary strong men of Jia Yan's squad attacked, they simply ran away. Groups of ordinary troops charged all the way invincibly. Even if there was any resistance during the march, there was still no possibility of resistance. They would be overwhelmed by them in an instant. By the time all the troops reacted, they had not encountered anyone who challenges will just occupy the territory of another god system. An army of ordinary creatures from Jia Yan's team actually caused a battle that was equivalent to the effect of the entire Stellar Alliance army. You must know that the difference in the number of armies between the two sides is at least 100 times. But no one found it strange. Because behind that seemingly weak army, there are 11 extremely powerful stellar combat forces. Even among these 11 powerful warriors, there is one terrifying powerhouse that cannot be ignored, and that is Jia Yan. This absolute overlord-level existence is almost invincible in this divine star. Even countless gods and star-level experts are trying to figure out how this powerful person caused his terrifying strength. There is no way to crack it, but at least until now, no one has worked out any method. Asshole, our pantheon lost territory without any resistance. The loss to our pantheon is huge. Will the alliance pay compensation? In the land of the great alliance of gods, a crying figure almost begged the surrounding overlords of the gods one by one. What he wanted was simply that because Jia Yan's team had occupied a large amount of territory, the gods under his command and himself had become polished commanders, and he was seeking some compensation from the big bosses of the gods. Haha, if you dare to fight back, this divine system will support you with a group of crystals of faith, but do you dare? One of the gods' boss said this impatiently, and then the crying boss didn't dare to speak. He was the leader of the gods who Jia Yan had previously occupied the territory of the gods without any effort. It was said that they had given up their own territory due to the unified request of the gods' alliance. What was the actual situation? Before anyone else could say anything, the gods of their pantheon were all packed up and ready to flee. Seeing that the godly boss shut up unwillingly, some of the group of godly bosses comforted him. Okay, penis, we will support you with a batch of supplies. In addition, I have some good news to tell you. All the big men of the gods pricked up their ears to listen. For them, the current war is completely bad news. In their view, the pantheon that has lost its entire territory may be a reflection of their future. Under such circumstances, where is the good news? So when there was good news, they were all pleasantly surprised, and they all pretended to be indifferent and listened with open ears. The big boss of the divine system, who had received the attention of all the big bosses, could not help but feel slightly proud when he saw that he had successfully attracted the attention of all the gods. Don't worry, everyone. Do you still remember the discussion we had about replying to the mysterious call a month ago? Today, the mysterious person has replied to me in an encrypted message, because I gave him a message earlier. A string of encrypted codes, so you can't receive it, and Jia Yan certainly can't receive it either. What? The mysterious person replied, what did he say? Did he say that he has arrived near here? Have you told them Jia Yan's current strength? If you told them, they would still dare to come, they must be confident. That's great, but the other party is a powerful person in the universe. Wouldn't it be a little inconvenient for us to have so many gods here? One by one, the gods' bosses were extremely happy to have replies to the mysterious person. After all, they have no way to deal with Jia Yan on this planet. If there is someone who claims to be able to deal with Jia Yan, coming, for them, is almost an extremely exciting thing. The adult said that he will arrive in half a month, and he wants us to support him for half a month and hold Jia Yan down. As long as we hold him back, he will not hold us accountable for being gods, because he is not the presence of any force in the stellar battlefield, he is just here to capture the leader of Jia Yan's team. The godly boss who told the news replied to the bosses, and said mysteriously, he also said that no matter how powerful Jia Yan is, as long as he does not break through the threshold of the primary star level, not his opponent. Yes, he is a mid-level star being. Moreover, he is definitely not an ordinary mid-level star, because he comes from the stellar domain thousands of light years away. In this place, even if we are creatures from the spiritual domain, you may have heard a little bit about it. What? He's actually a mid-level stellar powerhouse? Isn't this equivalent to the existence of our God King? No, he is a strong man in the stellar academic field. He is estimated to be a little stronger than the average God King in our spiritual domain. He may even reach the level of the title of God King. Haha, this is great. He said he won't attack us, but he still has to deal with Jia Yan, a powerful person with the title of God King. That Jia Yan is only a god-level creature, even if he is stronger than ordinary gods, but how could he be an opponent with the title of God King? We are saved. Next, let's retreat well. No matter how much territory we lose, don't fight with those crazy stellar powerhouses. As long as we wait half a month, after half a month, we will not fight. Victory. One by one, the leaders of the divine system were extremely excited about the coming of the senior from the Stellar Academy. Of course, some big gods have also suggested that when this powerful man comes, he is a powerful man in the universe anyway. If there is any bad hostility, their large group of gods gathered in one place there won't be any danger. Others may pack dumplings by then. Haha, seniors of this strength are all self-respecting. How can they change what they say at will? Since they said they won't deal with us, they definitely won't. Don't worry so much. Each of the great figures of the divine system expressed their words of comfort to the god. At the same time, it was half a month away from the divine star. My lord, you replied that we will not deal with those gods. Is this true? Oh, how could it be true? We, the powerful people in the universe, have a natural hostile relationship with the powerful people in the realm of gods. Even when I was young and just became a star, I was fighting against the gods on a certain battlefield. Those who have fought, even one of my good friends, died in the hands of gods. Why should I let them go? Huh? Then what you promised them is? You're stupid. When we, the powerful ones in the universe, do things, why do we need to be as particular about what we say and do as those gods do? Although we generally mean what we say, there is no need to be so pedantic when it comes to our enemies. We can't be so pedantic. I understand, thank you for teaching me. Please remember the first domain name of this book. VIP Chinese. Mobile version reading website. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1399. As a former ancient battlefield, many historical records clearly pointed out that the reason for the formation of the Divine Star was due to the battle between two ancient top powerhouses. Although he had long known that extremely powerful people would cause extremely terrifying damage and influence, Jia Yan still felt a little shocked when he saw this information. I knew before that the genius battlefield was caused by the battle between Senior Tianji and several galaxy-level seniors, but that was not realistic after all. But when I saw this planet and knew that it was also caused by the battles of the ancient seniors, it was such a shock. The feeling is even greater. It is a pity that although the reasons for the formation of this planet are exaggerated, it is still an ordinary planet in nature. It does not have many super specialties and similar things. Of course, if it is actually mined, there will definitely be great gains, but it is not so big that countless forces are flocking to it. The only thing I can learn from here is the aura of the strong, right? In the palace where he was, Jia Yan once again fell into his own thoughts. He didn't know yet that the mortal enemy he was worried about was already heading here from thousands of miles away. Of course, even if this group of beings came, Jia Yan would not be too worried, because now, his strength is much, much stronger than when he was besieged by a group of stellar academic experts last time. Puff puff. During the practice, Jia Yan's heart pulsed faintly. If anyone noticed this, they would find that the rhythm of this sudden pulse was exactly the same as the rhythm of the ripples when he controlled a group of divine creatures. That means that his ripple power is actually related to his heart. Oh, no one knows that after I studied the divine crystals and even absorbed a few, such a mutation occurred. Even this mutation has something to do with the many azure crystals I absorbed back then. This shows that, even if my previous evolved beast seniors had obtained divine crystals, and even if they had absorbed them, the effect would definitely be completely different from mine. Although they could certainly absorb it, the path they took would definitely be completely different from mine. Jia Yan smiled in his heart, because until now, he finally felt that his path was completely different from those of his predecessors. After all, although the evolved beasts are powerful, he has really felt a pressure along the way, just like Senior Tianji, just like the Senior Domain Lord level evolved beasts before Senior Tianji. The strength of each one is terrifying, and they are the source of pressure for Jia Yan. Jia Yan has been along the way, whether he is fighting hard on the earth or crazily improving his strength in the genius battlefield, but overall, he feels that he is still following the old path of a group of senior evolutionary beasts. Even if he is Azure Defense, etc., he should be on par with his seniors. Different, but they should be in the same period and have similar trump cards. This is very depressing for him, because he wants to prove that he is Jia Yan, a different existence from these predecessors. Even if the future will be terrifying to the heaven and earth, he does not want to be said to be an evolution anymore. Beast so simple. But now, on this divine planet, he has found a place that is completely different from his predecessors. That's why he, the powerful evolved beast, actually stepped out of the frame of the powerful man in the universe. After obtaining the divine crystal, Jia Yan actually used the divine crystal and combined it with his own system of being a powerful person in the universe, becoming a strange being who, although he was still a powerful person in the universe, had a little bit of the shadow of a god. This is completely separated from the other senior evolutionary beasts, and there is no trace of them anymore. Boom boom. The surrounding space is constantly expanding and beating. I transformed the divine crystal into 5, causing a small energy oscillation to appear in my heart. This oscillation is due to the constant conversion between the power of the divine crystal and the power of the stellar powerhouse in my heart. Causing oscillations in space, and coupled with my space talent, it actually caused the oscillations in space to amplify, and this terrifying oscillation became controllable by me. Essentially speaking, I just used the constant oscillation in the subspace to trigger the formation of such terrifying oscillating power. So for me, most of the terrifying oscillating power is not caused by my own strength. Jia Yan slowly reviewed his current oscillation strength in his heart. After self-analyzing the reasons, he concluded many advantages and disadvantages. His current strength, as shown now, can not only use the field power of a star-level powerhouse, but also the terrifying power of oscillation. However, if he wants to use the two powers at the same time, he has to fight back. Uncaught, because he couldn't solve the problem of both powers calling on his subspace talent. Don't worry, my current strength has already surpassed most of the elementary stellar level combat powers. Even the top elementary stellar level warriors may not be able to defeat me. And my current essential power is that of a being who has just reached the primary and later levels. Let alone the peak of the primary powerhouse, even the peak of the later stages has not yet been reached. As long as I truly reach the peak of the primary level, I dare to say that I am probably invincible at the elementary level in the entire universe. Even now, there should be no elementary strong person who can kill me. Even if I meet several evolution beast seniors of the same level, even then, they can't kill me. After all, my talent is a subspace talent. Jia Yan analyzed his current strength and finally let out a long sigh of relief at the level of strength he had reached. He thinks that even now, he must have the ability to protect himself. Even if he cannot defeat the mid-level strong man from the stellar academic field who comes, he will definitely be able to escape easily, and he will not be able to escape again. A situation arises where one blow from the opponent will result in death. Come on, if you really dare to come. Faintly, even if he didn't know that the strong man from the stellar academic field was coming, he still felt that the battle was about to break out in the not-too-distant future. On the planet of gods, the war that has affected the entire planet is still breaking out. Originally, the gods had made a plan. Within half a month, no matter how fierce the attack was, they still made up their mind to cower. Because within half a month, according to the advancement speed of the Stellar Alliance army, no matter how fast they are, they will not be able to reach the headquarters of their God Alliance, right? But something happened that caused their demeanor to change drastically. Not long after they received the news from the universe, some rumors leaked out, but the Stellar Alliance army suddenly increased their attack intensity. Ordinary armies advance faster. Even when encountering opponents that ordinary armies could not quickly defeat, they actually had stellar combat power. They violated the agreed-upon fighting method at the beginning of the war and jumped out one by one to attack those fortresses or demigods that ordinary armies could not quickly defeat. Something like that, destroying it with one blow caused the speed of the entire army to suddenly increase. A sense of crisis permeated the entire palace of the Alliance of Gods at this moment. How is it possible? Who brought the news that the Master from the Stellar Academy is coming? Otherwise, why would the Stellar Alliance be attacked as if we had killed our parents? I don't think so. Who among us would reveal such news to the other party? Isn't this asking for death? Did something go wrong with the Stellar Alliance? Damn it, they don't have our spies anymore, otherwise they would definitely know what happened. What the powerful gods don't know is that nothing happened at all in the Stellar Alliance. What happened was on Jia Yan's side. After practicing and recuperating after the last war, Jia Yan finally came out of seclusion. As soon as he came out of seclusion, his strength was stabilized again, and it took time to absorb it. Since he could no longer improve, he made a decision to speed up the attack. At the same time, he went to the main hall of the Star Alliance and ordered a general attack on them. Order. Originally, the Stellar Alliance would have easily agreed to such an order in the past. But after seeing the terrifying combat effectiveness of Jia Yan's team, looking for the book and knowing no one about the limits of their strength, Jia Yan and the Stellar Alliance were silent for a while, and after another secret meeting, finally nodded in agreement. In the ensuing general attack, Star-level experts quickly appeared one by one according to Jia Yan's request, and Jia Yan also made plans to personally help the war effort. But what shocked all the star-level experts was that none of the gods dared to use the powerful gods. Even if their palace was invaded by stellar enhancers and the entire territory fell, they actually didn't dare to move out. The war was completely a one-sided performance by the Stellar Alliance. Has the Alliance of Gods become a coward? This reaction surprised Jia Yan and all the star-level experts. No, there must be monsters when things go wrong. The honesty of these gods is so strange. Could it be? In terms of the Stellar Alliance, no one feels relaxed. But among so many powerful people, the only one who thought of something was Jia Yan. Without others noticing, Jia Yan looked at the sky of the divine star, and then snorted coldly in his heart. You must be coming, right? Haha, if you want to come, come. I am no longer the same person I was before. Even if I can't defeat you this time, I will definitely cause you a big loss again. Even if the middleman, even if he is a powerful person, I might hurt him. Jia Yan didn't tell anyone what he thought, he just gave the order to increase the offensive. The entire Stellar Alliance seemed to have given up on itself after falling to Jia Yan, and no longer bothered with the issue of Jia Yan giving orders. After all, the current Alliance of Gods seemed to be really easy to bully, so the entire war changed in an instant. Please remember the first domain name of this book. VIP Chinese. Mobile version reading website. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin Yu. Chapter 1400. More than 100 star-level creatures, like monsters and monsters that appear everywhere, began to appear in countless battlefields. As a result, the ordinary army of gods began to face an extremely desperate situation. That is, they fought vigorously against the ordinary armies of the Stellar Alliance, and could even suppress the opponent from time to time. But soon something terrible happened. That was a war between their ordinary armies. Star-level experts actually appeared to fight. After one move, half of the ordinary army was killed or injured. After two attacks, except for a few extremely powerful demigods who were still alive, the entire army completely annihilated. And when stellar powerhouses appear, none of the spiritual masters behind them appear. This makes those army soldiers who believe in gods complain incessantly and resist. This situation is still a fart. The stars have come out. Who can stop them? If they can stop them, are they still ordinary army soldiers? Don't block it, but if the gods take care of it in the future, they will still be dead. And for them, they believe in the gods. If the gods want them to die, they have already been prepared. But that's not how you prepare yourself. Fight against a star-level powerhouse? Isn't that just fighting other gods? Many soldiers couldn't even tell the difference between gods and stellar powerhouses. They only knew that this was a divine war that affected a very wide area. Even many ordinary soldiers didn't even understand that this planet was a sphere. They just thought it was. The evil god is attacking their god's territory, and they must fight back desperately, otherwise all their family and friends will die. How come, my god, why have you abandoned us? As demigods, some creatures are not so simple to trust ordinary gods. Even if they believe in a certain god in name, most of them have fallen into the eyes of the god and become people close to the god, and they still know the so-called essence of the god. Like stellar-level powerhouses, gods are just a group of powerful creatures in the universe. So when they saw the Stellar Alliance wreaking havoc on their own army, all the demigod-level experts panicked and didn't know why their master abandoned them. But no matter how worried they were and whether they doubted the purpose of this war, the stellar creatures still regarded their group of targets, second only to the stellar combat power, as their first priority to kill. Even though the strength of the two sides is vastly different, just like the gap between a semi-star powerhouse and a star-level powerhouse, apart from them, star-level creatures have no better target, so the war becomes like this. It has become a kind of star-level powerhouse, competing to kill demigods in a show battle. Soon, the army of gods was dying out at an incredible speed. Without the help of gods to resist a star-level powerhouse, no matter how many ordinary armies there are, no matter how many semi-star level powerhouses there are, it is impossible to resist a star-level powerhouse, let alone more than 100 star-level powerhouses. Haunted on the battlefield across the entire planet. In just 5 days, the entire battle situation suddenly changed. The army of star-level experts quickly devoured endless land. Even the ordinary army had no time to rush. They also used the transport warships of some star-level experts, which allowed them to quickly rush to another battlefield in the distance. If the transportation hadn't been a little slow, maybe the advancement would have been faster. They couldn't even stop them for half a month. That group of ordinary armies, which looked like hundreds of millions, were so incompetent. On this planet, one can already see the flames of war in the final palace of the gods. It is also the main palace of the most powerful god recognized by this planet. All the gods are gathered here. They looked at the attacking army from afar. Each star-level strongman was killing ordinary troops. Some even sneered when they saw them from a distance, as if they were not afraid that they would rush out to help in the battle. However, the gods did not fight, which made the star-level powerhouses in front of them even more unscrupulous. But there were only a few ordinary biological armies that hurriedly fled to the main palace. Gods, it's not that we won the battle, but that group of false gods were too despicable. They actually took action against us ordinary creatures. This is simply what the evil gods did. A semi-god level strongman, with injuries on his body, complained tremblingly to a group of gods. "It's really not your fault, just step back." One of the gods said lightly, and then even if the demigod was seriously injured, he even wanted to ask the gods face to face why they didn't take action, but he couldn't say it. The fear of the gods made him dare not ask such harsh words, especially when he saw that the palace was so densely packed with countless huge gods, and each one of them emitted a radiant energy that frightened him. His own terrifying power made him even more afraid to speak. This was the first time he knew that there were so many gods on this planet, and it seemed that their number far exceeded the stellar powerhouses over there. This must be a test by the gods for us puny mortals. As long as we work hard, we may be resurrected in the kingdom of gods in the future. This is what a group of ordinary soldiers thought. However, the extremely powerful gods they talked about were not at all as calm and composed as ordinary soldiers said at this moment. "It's only been 5 days. Counting the days we've been there, there are still 8 days left before the seniors arrive. What should we do? They've all arrived at the palace. Without Ji Shen's defense, are we still shrinking? No, it's useless even if we retreat. Who knows when they will attack? It's not impossible. With so many of us here, do they really dare to attack? Even Jia Yan doesn't have the guts. If he has the ability to attack, we can let him have a try." 150 The power of the gods attacking in unison. That's true. The strength of our gods can be superimposed. Unlike their stellar powerhouses, as long as we work together, we may be able to kill even a mid-level powerhouse. If that Jia Yan dares to appear, then he is asking for trouble. One by one, the gods began to discuss the current battle situation in detail in the main palace. At this point, it is almost impossible for them. It turned out that they thought that the army of ordinary soldiers would be able to last longer, but with all the star-level experts participating in the battle, they no longer had any illusions. After all, this was already like cheating. Especially a group of star-level powerhouses, more than 100 of them. After they lost a lot of manpower, a similar number of star-level creatures started to attack together. That kind of strength and terrifying combat energy was beyond the ability of ordinary soldiers and armies to resist. Forget it, let's just follow the law of keeping words. I guess they really don't dare to attack at once. Stellar-level creatures don't work together like our gods. That is, they dare to beat our subordinate troops, but when they come to the headquarters of a group of our gods, who dares? Even if we can't beat them, but they kill a few before death, none of them know which one will die. In this way do they still dare to come? They don't have the mentality of I am for everyone. The divine beings are right. When a group of star-level creatures attacked the last territory of the planet, which was also the home of the most terrifying powerful god on the entire planet, they discovered that this territory had been isolated from their detection range. There are actually so many divine creatures gathered inside. Sir, those creatures from the Alliance of Spirits have actually gathered in one territory. What should we do now? A large wave of stellar powerhouses, after killing the last remaining members of the Divine Fang ordinary sister team who had not escaped, arrived at a palace occupied behind enemy lines. In this palace, there is a powerful creature that creeps quietly. He is completely dark-skinned and has a slender mouth that makes people feel slightly frightened. He is none other than Jia Yan. They're all together. Jia Yan spoke calmly. That's right, they are all gathered in the palace of the strongest god in the past. If we attack by force, the losses from the attack will be considerable. You must know that if they don't come out, even if we can attack in, we will losses. It's definitely huge, too. An unfamiliar star-level powerhouse exuded terrifying fluctuations, but he spoke extremely respectfully to Jia Yan. This star-level creature is the leader of the star-level alliance on this planet. Although his strength is not the strongest among the star-level experts, he is not weak either. Coupled with his good mind and with his knowledge, he was promoted as the temporary leading creature among the stellar powerhouses. Of course, in front of Jia Yan, he didn't dare to show off at all. You must know that this is a creature that can defeat a group of gods on his own. In contrast, the side of the star level also knows that even against these star level powerhouses, Jia Yan's strength is estimated to be able to defeat a group of them. Of course, he didn't dare to offend. I understand, wait 5 days, 5 days later, I will take action myself. Do you understand? Jia Yan said lightly. Although he didn't know when the experts from the Stellar Academy would arrive, he already felt a huge amount of pressure, so at this moment, he decided to take action himself. However, if he takes action himself, he can't guarantee safety yet, so he has to practice hard for a while. Okay, sir, I understand. I will go down and make arrangements now. I really hope that one day I can see your strength with my own eyes. The stellar powerhouse nodded respectfully and then stepped back. After he left, Jia Yan shook his head solemnly. It originally took at least 7 days, but since we are pressed for time, we can only compress it to 5 days. After 5 days, I hope that the strong men from the stellar academic field will not attack. Jia Yan's guess was actually not wrong. A faint stream of light had already flown from outside the universe and flown into the galaxy close to where this huge planet was located. Please remember the first domain name of this book. VIP Chinese. Mobile version reading website. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1401. Judging from the speed at which the stream of light gradually slowed down, it would take at least 7 or 8 days for them to reach the huge planet 1 or 2 light-years away. The time required for Jia Yan's practice this time is 5 days, so the time is theoretically enough. But with only 2 or 3 days in between, those powerful gods wouldn't be able to hold on? After all, with this number, even if Jia Yan goes deep into it, he will be bombarded to death instantly. If they hold on for 2 or 3 days, Jia Yan will have no choice but to run for his life when he sees the creatures from the Stellar Academy coming again. The two sides were faintly competing for time and speed. The gods are the most confused group of creatures this time. They actually didn't attack, but surrounded us. But this is a good thing. They were probably planning something, but they didn't expect that we were also stalling for time. I even notified the power of the God King of Tianta Tower in the nearby star area, saying that there was someone here who betrayed the way of the gods. That God the King hates betrayers very much, and his old man might come over. Just wait, the longer it takes, the more beneficial it will be to us. What? The power of the Tianta God King, the famous God King? According to some people, he is a real God King with the title of Tianta. If even such a great God comes, we will be saved. A group of gods. It turned out that they were not so confident about the senior from the so-called stellar academic field after all. Even if they are here to capture Jia Yan, if he is really strong, he can easily deal with them together, and they have nothing to resist, of course. With so many gods, it is estimated that ordinary middle-level experts cannot solve them. And now, they heard that a powerful god king they were familiar with was coming, which was something that made them even more excited. Compared with the possible help of a star-level powerhouse, they are more willing to believe in a powerhouse of the divine system, even if the God King is rumored to be an indifferent existence. Humph, as long as the God King of Tianta comes, no matter it is Jia Yan or some star-level expert in the stellar field, who are we afraid of? And we have not deceived the seniors of Tianta. There are indeed a few betrayers here. I even heard rumors that the one called Luo Longxi, for some reason, has actually integrated the auras of many stellar powerhouses. Even if I don't know why she transformed so quickly, I can be sure that she is one. A traitor. Yes, as soon as the God King comes, he will definitely be furious. By then, we may even be able to seize the dominance of the entire planet. Even if we depend on the God King in the future, it will be nothing. One by one, the gods paid more attention to the news about the heavenly tower God King. Moreover, they also believe that the orthodox spiritual powerhouses who kill the traitors one by one will definitely deal with Jia Yan's team, and they will gain by then. Even if they have to rely on the God King because of this, they are not unhappy at all, and they are almost happy. Time passed quickly. More than 4 days were almost like quicksand. When both sides of the war were originally extremely grand and nerve-wracking, for 5 days, there was no trace of war on the entire planet. This not only failed to make people feel relaxed, but more like the tranquility before the war, which makes countless ordinary soldier creatures and territorial creatures living around them feel suffocating pressure. Of course, everyone knows that it will be an earth-shaking divine war that will unfold. Even this divine war will not be earth-shattering and can be explained, because everyone has seen it and has shown it before. God's war, but the next God's war will definitely exceed that level. Far away in Xianxian City, which already belongs to the rear of the war, Xiao Meiping went to see Jia Yan these days, but never came through. The guard at the door stopped her, even with a firm attitude. This was something that Meiping had never done before. "Sir, I want to play with you, why don't you play with me? Is it because of my beauty that you don't like me?" Meiping was crying at the door. She had been waiting for several days, but she never saw Jia Yan again. But on this day, she suddenly heard the voice of Jia Yan's clone. "Come in, Meiping." The voice was a little tired, but more of an excitement. Because just now, he fully realized the last idea in his field. In other words, his strongest strength at this stage was finally fully completed. However, the pressure in his heart is getting bigger and bigger. At this point, he has some understanding of the power of the universe. More importantly, as an evolved beast, he can feel the power in the distant stars. There was a power coming quickly that surprised him. Not even 1 share, but 2 shares. So he knew that the final war was coming, and maybe after this war, he would have to leave, so he returned to this clone, said goodbye to Meiping, and the clone would return to the Aditha. This planet has no interest for him, so it is impossible for him to waste a precious clone sitting here. "Sir, what's going on with you these days? Mei Ping is so anxious to wait. Mei Ping ran barefoot into the hall where Jia Yan was, and was not surprised to see the dust all over Jia Yan's body. She had long been accustomed to Jia Yan's posture in retreat. Haha, I'm in retreat these days. Come to Mei Ping and try out the exercises I taught you. Jia Yan smiled and then asked Mei Ping to use the skills he taught. This technique was modified by him according to the physical training of the people on Earth. It also has some similarities with the human race on this planet. Jia Yan modified it a little and taught it to Mei Ping. Okay. Mei Ping sat down cross-legged and performed the exercises taught by Jia Yan for a while. Well, very good. Your strength has reached the advanced level, which is a little higher than your father's. It seems that you have not been lazy during this period. I am very satisfied, Jia Yan nodded. Haha, sir, of course I work hard. I practice every day and I am not lazy. Mei Ping laughed happily and ran around Jia Yan. Okay, I have the remaining cultivation methods here. If you reach the strength in the future, you can practice it by yourself. It's time for me to leave. Listening to Jia Yan's words, Xiao Mei paused with her running steps. You want to leave? Are you going to play outside Fairy City? How about I go too? Mei Ping's eyes widened and her smile became very unnatural. Obviously, this little guy also vaguely knew that such a day would come. Sure enough, Jia Yan shook his head. No, the place I want to go is far, far away, much farther than you think. After I leave, there should be no chance to meet again. I don't want it. Mei Ping's expression changed at every turn. After roaring, she rushed forward and hugged Jia Yan's thigh, tears rolling down her face, with snot and tears flowing down her face. She had known this for a long time, and even her father had vaguely told her several times, because everyone could see that this Lord Jia Yan was definitely not an ordinary existence. Even people from the immortal city were in a certain place. Once, I saw a terrifying god who had reached the level of God. When he flew over the immortal city, he nodded respectfully towards the main palace of the immortal city. They don't think that in the city lord's palace, they have a chance to be nodded and paid tribute by the powerful gods. The only explanation is that the great and mysterious Lord Jia Yan, whose identity and strength far exceed their imagination, even the gods and creatures will pay tribute to him. Mei Ping got angry several times after listening to her father's words. In her opinion, her future must be to live like this forever with adults. But she didn't expect that this beautiful life would be over so soon. It's over. Mei Ping, be good, these are the last words I say. If you don't listen, I will leave directly. Listen to me, maybe we will have a chance to meet in the future. Jia Yan helplessly touched the little girl's little head. The feeling of helping this little guy was like he had an extra daughter, which made him feel good. But now that they are about to part ways, Jia Yan is also a little sad. Sir, do we still have a chance to meet again? You asked. Mei Ping obeyed. Well, I actually come from a place called Orion Arm that is more than 10,000, no, maybe 20,000 light years away. If you work hard to practice my skills, if your strength reaches the starry sky level, you can try to go outside the universe. You definitely don't understand what I'm talking about now. In short, when you reach that level of strength, you can find the truth yourself. It all depends on the speed of your cultivation. 20 years later, you have not reached the starry sky level. Then don't come to me, because it proves that you are not talented enough and you are likely to die on the road. I won't die of old age. I will reach the starry sky level in 10 years. Sir, will I tell you when I get to the Orion Arm? Even though she heard a lot of things she didn't understand, Mei Ping still listened attentively. Well, just mention my name when you get there, and someone should know you. Forget it, I'll give you some luck, or the power to protect yourself. Jia Yan thought for a while, but finally couldn't bear it and slapped him lightly. Puff! Instantly, Mei Ping felt endless power pouring into the palm of her forehead. To her, it was as huge as a terrifying galaxy. Okay, I have injected a little energy into you, which is equivalent to the power of 3 starry sky level strikes. Part of it is used to help you practice, and the other part is to protect you. When you are hurt, you will automatically protect your body. This will greatly ensure your safety. Well, whether we are here because of this, or whether we have another chance to meet in the future, everything depends on you. After saying that, Jia Yan's clone in front of Mei Ping faintly turned into air. Mei Ping felt that the big man she was hugging had turned into air. Suddenly, she almost cried again. However, Jia Yan left another paragraph at the end, Mei Ping, if you have the ability to find the Orion arm within 30 years, then I will wait for you over there and accept you as my direct disciple, because you can do this, has proven your perseverance. After saying this, Jia Yan completely disappeared. Please remember the first domain name of this book. VIP Chinese. Mobile version reading website. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1402. Apex School Bag. My lord. Mei Ping was startled and looked around, but there was no sign of Jia Yan anywhere. I will definitely find you within 30 years. Woohoo, I want to become your personal disciple. After Jia Yan said these words, the clone returned to the Aditya. He didn't know why he said such words, because in his opinion, this little beauty's cultivation talent is not very good. Even if she has cultivated to the starry sky level for 20 years, she probably won't be able to take that step in her lifetime. But anyone can have a chance, and Jia Yan doesn't want to lose her hope. No matter what, she is still a child who was once half teacher and half friend. So he gave Mei Ping a sweet dream, but Jia Yan felt that this sweet dream was basically impossible to realize. After all, even if Mei Ping reaches the starry sky level in 20 years, no, even if she reaches the starry sky level in 10 years, so what? If you want to find the Orion arm, it is 20,000 light-years away, almost half the distance of the Milky Way. It is impossible for a mere starry sky level creature to go there, even if you die of old age. I don't know if this will hurt her or give her hope. Alas, I thought I didn't have human emotions, but it turns out I still have them. Jia Yan gave a wry smile, and then his clone slowly sat down somewhere on the Edisha, thus severing the link with his real body. All the energy goes to the real body. Did something like this happen to the clone, that's all. When I leave, I can at most ask a few of my subordinates to take care of her. Of course, it doesn't have to be too much, otherwise it will give her some hope. Just live your life well on this planet, Xiao Mei Ping. Jia Yan sighed. Sir, we have a detector outside the planet, which sent a signal. There is a fleet of huge fleets just 2 days away from the planet, coming towards us quickly. I don't know what this is. Jia Yan suddenly heard the report from the long-horned monster. Are you here? Just in time, I'm out of seclusion too. After Jia Yan heard the urgent report, his whole body shook slowly, and the dust on the surface of his body that had not moved for several days was shaken off to the ground. Amidst the sudden vibration, his 1-kilometer large starry sky giant mosquito body slowly stood up. I know who they are. But, are there 2 more days? That's enough. Jia Yan came to the side of the long-horned monster. At this moment, his giant mosquito eyes faintly exuded a terrifying light that even the long-horned monster felt a hint of shock. Sir, I don't know how to decide the current war. Jia Yan looked at the huge palace of gods in the distance and said coldly. This war has been dragged on for long enough. Go tell them and start a full-scale attack next. Yes, Follow your orders. The longhorn monster was startled for a moment, then showed a hint of joy in his expression, and nodded respectfully in response. For the stellar level of their Jiayan team, what they rely on is Jiayan standing behind them. In the previous days, although they were highly regarded by a group of beings from the Stellar Alliance because of Jiayan's strength, but because Jiayan did not show any signs during these days of being trapped in the God's temple, they began to treat Jiayan. His strength and sincerity made him feel unhappy. So in these days, a group of stellar powerhouses in Jiayan's team, especially those female gods, have been under pressure from all directions. For example, the logistics of the mortal army under them have been delayed, and for example, the logistics assigned to them have been delayed. The Crystal of Faith also lost 1 point, and so on. Although those little things are looked down upon by stellar level warriors, this is about a mood. When they are in a bad mood here, they and the surrounding stellar level strong men begin to become two groups. Even though the stellar combat forces on Jiayan's side are far less than the Stellar Alliance with more than 100 stellar existences, but because there is a Jiayan with unfathomable strength behind them, they have not fallen. Too disadvantageous. It turns out that a group of Jiayan's subordinates thought that this kind of life would continue for a while, because Lord Jiayan was practicing. For ordinary star-level combat power, a retreat will take a long time. Even if it is slower, it will take at least 1 month or 2 months. Therefore, they are all prepared to be attacked by the star-level alliance again. Aspect, ridicule for a while. But what no one expected was that just a few days later, their most powerful adult would actually come out of seclusion. And as soon as he comes out of seclusion, he starts to make trouble. Jiayan announced that the entire army would launch an attack on the main hall of the gods. What? Then Jiayan was like this as soon as he came out of seclusion. We are not prepared for this and this. No, we have been preparing for several days. We should be ready no matter what, but we are not mentally prepared. Are we really going to launch a general attack? Our plan for this war is just to let those gods see the strength of our cosmic powerhouses. Is Jiayan Zuo's plan really to kill them completely? It's too exaggerated. You have to know that even if we are victorious, we haven't actually destroyed many gods. If they fight back, our victory or defeat is not certain. Even if we win, there will be heavy casualties. How about this? Let's let the stellar combat power of their Jiayan team go up to fight first, and we will see the situation later. The Stellar Alliance did not trust Jiayan easily, so they sent people after the all-out war announced by Jiayan began. Their strength had suffered heavy losses in previous wars, and they were not as good as Jiayan's team as the vanguard. Everyone knows this is an excuse. However, what shocked the astral class who came to negotiate was that Jiayan didn't even look at the details he brought and waved his paw indifferently. Okay, let's take the lead. You can go ahead on your own depending on the situation. But if you dare to betray us, be careful and I will come back to deal with you. Jiayan was like swatting away flies, driving away the stellar powerhouse who delivered the message. Sir, are we really the vanguard? We are only 11 strong men. The other party has at least 150 gods. We will suffer heavy losses. An old star-level creature on the side was frightened almost instantly by Jiayan's choice, and jumped out quickly, regardless of whether Jiayan would be angry or not. Oh? So, you don't believe in my strength anymore? Jiayan looked at this stellar creature with a half-smile, and asked with a cold smile. I don't dare, but... Before he could say anything, Jiayan waved his foot again. If you are waiting in line at the back and are willing to rush forward with me, please follow me. I would like to take a look. Among my subordinates, Jiayan, who is brave enough. In the entire team, except for Jiayan, the top 10 star-level combat powers were slightly silent for a moment. As mentioned before, it is not that easy for every existence that reaches stellar-level combat power, whether it is a stellar-level powerhouse or a godly powerhouse. They cherish their lives far more than ordinary creatures. In order to survive, they must have done many immoral things before. At this moment, everyone calmed down and no one stood up. Jia Yan's heart became even colder. But he didn't get angry. After all, if he were in the other party's perspective, he would probably behave even worse. Originally, they were all semi-forced to follow him, so how could they risk their lives now just because of his words? But what surprised Jia Yan and all the stellar-level combat creatures was that after a period of silence, a voice that was not loud, but extremely firm, suddenly rang out. Lord Jia Yan, I, Luo Longxi, am willing to follow you. The first one to stand up was Luo Longxi. Not only her, but beside her, 3 female creatures of the divine level all stood up together. Sir, we are willing to follow you. In fact, their attitude is easy to understand, because they know that after joining the team here, in order to show their loyalty, they abandoned the spiritual system for a long time, and then followed Jia Yan and practiced a cultivation method that he had developed himself. I don't know if it's because they have stellar combat power, but their progress is extremely fast. Now they have a trace of the energy of the universe's powerful system. And this little bit is huge, it represents their complete betrayal of the divine system. As long as they cannot get rid of this trace of energy, they can sow no matter where they go. As long as the powerful gods discover their abnormalities, they will be hunted down, because for the god system, betrayal is more hateful than death. Therefore, apart from following Jia Yan closely, they did not dare to take a step away from this protector until they completely recovered their strength. And if Jia Yan dies or loses, their fate will definitely not be good, so they might as well stand up and show their loyalty now. Sir, I am also willing to be by your side. Suddenly, the long-horned monster stood up after pondering for a while. Huh? You're not afraid of death? Jia Yan understood that the 4 female gods were willing to stand up after thinking about it, but when the longhorn monster stepped forward, he felt a little surprised, because this star-level creature did not follow him to death at all. Necessary. Sir, it's not that I'm not afraid of death, but I believe in your methods, because I understand you, just like you understand that I'm afraid of death. I know that you are not someone who will die casually, and at the same time, you will not die casually. Someone who kills his own subordinates. The beetle monster was very eloquent, and at the same time he explained, he also flattered Jia Yan, and even vaguely forced Jia Yan to be embarrassed to let his subordinates who charged with him die if there was danger later. Sir, I am also willing to charge with you. I would like that too. After what the longhorn monster said, it seemed that it had reached into the hearts of a group of stellar powerhouses. They discovered one by one that this was really the case, so they all stood up to express their loyalty. Even the old star-level powerhouse who was the first to question also echoed at this moment. Oh, since everyone agrees to charge with me, then. R.W. Apex School Bag. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1403. Apex School Bag. Come with me. After Jia Yan finished speaking, he took the lead and charged towards the huge main hall of the gods. Behind him, Luo Longxi and other 4 female gods rose into the sky without any hesitation at this moment, and followed Jia Yan forward. Behind them, the beetle monsters were almost behind them, followed by a group of star-level creatures. It moved. Jia Yan's team actually acted as the vanguard and rushed over. We'll wait for them to fight for 10 seconds before we leave. Don't rush. Farther away, a group of powerful creatures from the Stellar Alliance saw the scene from a distance, but they did not have the impulse to follow directly. They all wanted to see whether Jia Yan's team had silver pewter spearheads or was really powerful. Although none of them believed that Jia Yan's team could withstand the attacks of more than 100 powerful gods. Attack, but also wanted to at least wait until he saw the strength of Jia Yan's team before taking action. Coming. On the side of the gods, there were also gods who had already watched the movements of the Stellar Alliance army. When they saw Jia Yan and his subordinates, a total of 11 people, approaching with lightning speed, they quickly roared. "Don't be afraid, this is just a member of Jia Yan's team. Why do they dare to rush here alone? They don't take us seriously. Humph, this Jia Yan may have taken advantage of us too much before, but now he dares to be so bold and ignore the 150 gods on our side. Let him see, we 150 gods can easily kill them just by their numbers. That's right, there are only a few people who want to attack us. They are simply too confident. Let us attack them." A group of gods were also instantly prepared. Originally, they were afraid that the stellar powerhouses would launch an all-out charge. Unexpectedly, a small team of Jia Yan was charging in. Everyone was gearing up and wanted to teach Jia Yan a lesson. Although they also know that Jia Yan, who has space talent and extremely strange strength, is not easy to kill, but the subordinates around him do not have space talent. If this charge can turn Jia Yan into the polished commander can also make them get rid of the evil spirit of being crushed by Jia Yan all the way. Boom boom boom. The heaven and earth shook, and the charging 11-member Jia Yan team's stellar combat power finally arrived with a roaring, earth-shaking sound. "Here we go, let's do it." "Humph, Jia Yan, I have long disliked you. You will die." The powerful gods here all look confident. After all, they are a group of more than 100 powerful gods, all bursting with strength. They are preparing to deal with Jia Yan's team, almost a dozen of them fighting each other. How can they not be confident? Under such circumstances, even an intermediate star-level being would probably have to stay away. This group of star-level creatures must be fighting against each other internally. This is why the star-level creatures are barbarians. We gods are extremely united. A god who was stronger than ordinary gods stood at the front of all the gods. He looked coldly at Jia Yan, who was suddenly approaching. He was extremely confident and believed that a blow from all the powerful gods, even the one with shocking strength according to rumors, Jia Yan would be seriously injured or even killed by one blow. Even if it doesn't work, he will be forced to use his talent for leaving the subspace and hide in the subspace. The powerful gods did not simply attack together, but used ancient battle formations. After all, they have been fighting against the strong men in the universe or other systems for millions of years. Their individual strength is insufficient, so they can only rely on groups. After such a long battle, they have many times when facing strong men. A unique move to join forces. Boom boom boom. Here, Jia Yan, who was flying in front of his subordinates, looked coldly at the attacking gods in front of him. The huge temple is actually a huge hollow platform, and the gods inside can be directly seen as long as they fly close. After all, it would take a lot of time to build such a huge building on this planet. Without the help of the gods themselves, ordinary creatures would build such a huge palace in hundreds of years, so this palace looks like a semi-finished product at first glance. Thanks to this, both parties saw each other in an instant. And when he saw the group of gods, which numbered no less than 150, they all moved in unison at the same time. Spirit formation. Jia Yan was shocked, because he had known for a long time that among the powerful gods, there were many so-called formations in which two or even many people cooperated to fight, but they were actually ordinary combined attack techniques. But don't underestimate those combined attack techniques. Generally speaking, those combined attack techniques are developed after millions of years and countless battles, and can greatly increase the strength of the powerful gods. What a terrifying power! Finally, before they could fly to the palace, an earth-shattering terrifying attack, like a bombardment from the kingdom of God, and like a bombardment of brainwave power, was launched by more than 100 powerful gods who joined forces to attack. So fast. At this moment, everyone including Jia Yan felt a life and death crisis. If you don't hide, you will definitely not be able to survive. And even if he hid, he could dodge himself in an instant. But there was no time to help his subordinates escape together. Haha, Jia Yan, it depends on how you decide. Even if you can dodge one blow, we have already agreed that the next blow will be aimed at the subspace. You must know that our divine creatures have all attributes. Even if they are single, it has little impact on the subspace, but with so many gods gathered together, the power of the bombardment can kill you even if you are hiding deep in the subspace. A group of divine beings have long discussed how to deal with Jia Yan. After all, for millions of years, powerful divine beings have had to deal with too many enemies. There must be some with subspace talents among them. After a little reference, they knew how to deal with Jia Yan. Rock. The current situation was exactly what Jia Yan was preparing for. So, did Jia Yan abandon his subordinates and dodge the first attack, only to be blasted into the subspace by the second attack and be seriously injured or even die? Or should he rescue his subordinates and fight with them in the first attack and be seriously injured or even killed? Die. Jia Yan, the only fault is that you are too confident. You actually dared to come with a team by yourself. To underestimate our gods is to seek death. Each of the gods looked at Jia Yan and a group of subordinates with murderous intent in their eyes. Of course, the most hateful eyes are placed on Relancy and the other four female gods, because they will never tolerate betrayers. Facing the terrifying combined power of the gods, Jia Yan's expression only changed slightly. But the group of star-level experts behind him all had their hearts beating like drums. You must know that stellar-level creatures have never had similar fighting methods. They rarely cooperate, and even if they do, they always have their own suspicions. How can they develop such a unified move? Luo Longxi and the other four gods did not have so many surprises. After all, they were gods, and they definitely knew the methods that the gods could master. Even before that, Luo Longxi had communicated with Jia Yan. Roughly speaking, maybe the gods would use such means, but Jia Yan ignored it. Since you are so confident, sir, now it's time to show off your skills, right? Luo Longxi stared at Jia Yan's giant mosquito's back, her eyes completely filled with calmness. As someone who has traveled alone with Jia Yan's clone for more than half a year, she fully understands that it is absolutely impossible for Jia Yan to do this without any certainty. Sure enough, just as she was waiting. Humph, the god's trump card is nothing more than this. Jia Yan's indifferent voice echoed for a moment. Boom. There was a trembling sound, and there was a sudden movement in the entire sky. Then waves of ripples came from inside Jia Yan's body. Even the ripples didn't stop. The moment after the ripples appeared, tiny twisting cracks also appeared in the sky at the same time. Cracking, endless cracks continued to explode in the sky and then recovered. Sooner or later, just when Jia Yan exploded with this strange force, the blow that gathered all the strength of the gods had already arrived in front of him. Twist it to me. Jia Yan's eyes were indifferent, and suddenly roared. And at this moment, the entire sky, following his roar, seemed to be completely distorted in an instant, as if following his words. The world has become a subspace feeling, completely distorted. Everything was in chaos. Half of the stone was 1 kilometer away, but the other half was instantly 1 kilometer away. Even a group of subordinates around Jia Yan were shocked to find that their bodies seemed to be torn into countless pieces, some within a few kilometers, and some as far as 10 kilometers away. And the terrifying power that bombarded suddenly hit the outermost layer of the distorted scene in this terrifying and weird scene. Buzz. There was a terrifying roar in the sky, the earth, and the universe at this moment. The twisted pieces were blasted apart by absolute power and returned to normal space, but the small twisted cracks around it kept appearing. How is that possible? He can actually block it? Impossible. Even an intermediate level star with ordinary strength cannot block an attack of this level. He is a mere star level junior strongman. Even if his strength is stronger than the ordinary star level junior, he is absolutely unable to block it. It's impossible to block it. Impossible. Why is this happening? The gods who released their power and maintained the power of confrontation saw that Jia Yan actually used his strange and terrifying power to attack the gods who were bombarded in front of him with a combined attack, and completely resisted it. Each of them seemed to have seen something helpless. I was completely dumbfounded by what I believed. For them, the strength of more than 150 gods is no weaker than that of an ordinary middle-level star-level strongman, but they can only confront Jia Yan with one move. This seemed to be a whimsical scene that they couldn't believe. Apex School Bag.